Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross, we have a very special guest on the show, and it's actually not Chuck Liddell's son.
No, it is not. We have Iain Ward. Iain is going to try and break 2 world records in the next year or two. So, Iain, you're very, very welcome.
Yeah,
How are you
thanks
feeling?
for having me on, lads. Today, feeling much better. The chemo treatment is
Incorrect.
finally
The answer
easing
was
off.
energized. The answer was energized.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Start again. Take 4.
Now, how are you getting on?
I feel like an Energizer bunny.
Oh, love it.
Perfect. Yeah,
B plus, not close enough.
I'll just give a bit of a background, right? Myself and Ross obviously do a show every week, so for people that are new to the show, how's it going? And then Ross sent me on a message saying Iain got in contact because he has this unbelievable story. Myself and Ross do try and push like mental health, and like we've done Movember numerous times as well, and we'll be doing it this year as well, Ross. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Iain got on to Ross and he sent him like something very serious. And I know this isn't one of our typical shows, but when someone reaches out with a story like this, you can't help but take notice and invite them on the show. So Ross, you take it away, bud.
Well, maybe I shouldn't take away. Maybe we should let Iain take away. It is his story.
Very true.
So, Iain, do you want to bring us to, what was it, the 22nd of July?
Yeah, but you haven't mentioned that it's all about being the Clontarf heavies sticking together.
Well,
That's
yeah,
the
of course.
main reason I'm on the
Obviously,
podcast.
well, everyone knows Energize support the Irish and support their own. So, you know what I mean? That's a given.
Yeah.
And when you told us your story, it was an incredible story. And it was like, that's a story that needs to be told. So do you want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, I'll take it away. So I live over in London and I've been doing medical trials for ages just because it's a handy way to make money for like little to no effort. You put up with some annoying stuff from time to time, but you're essentially you're completely autonomous. You spend your day spent doing whatever you want. So if you've got a lot of backlog of admin that you have to do, you can just get it done there. And
what is the pay like for that?
Depends on what you do. So like if you go in and it is the best one that I did for how handy it was a HIV vaccine that I didn't even have to spend any of the nighttime in the hospital. I went in, took the vaccine. I think they kept me for an hour and then buggered off. And then every week I would go in and give them a blood test. So it would be, how are you going in? You show us your arm, zip, all right, off you go. And then they paid me 100 quid, not in cash or anything like that, every single week. And then I added up and then I got like 3 grand for, I remember calculating it, it was something like 3 grand for 20 hours, including actually walking to the hospital and back. And then that put me on a flight to Peru. So pretty decent money to get. So
nice. So you're a professional guinea pig for a while.
Oh God, yeah. It was just because I do fitness classes, and I never liked working as a personal trainer because I found that it was you're constantly just telling people the same thing. People always come in and they just want weight loss, and I got very disheartened by that. And I found when I was teaching fitness classes, it got to be a lot more competitive. Might not be the best word, but it got to be a lot more sort of real for what I wanted to be teaching. And so in England anyway, the way they teach you or the way they pay you with fitness classes, they usually pay you quite well. But the disadvantage of it is that it's never going to be a 9-to-5 job because it's based around people who have 9-to-5 jobs. Yeah. So you'll do your fitness classes early in the morning, around the lunch break, and then in the evening. So while you get paid decent wage for the hour, you usually have a lot of spare time that you'd want to spend somewhere productive. And so I would always be looking for little sort of cheeky ways to make the extra money that would be able to get me not just living an existing, surviving, but like, you know, actually have a proper life to live in terms of cash. And so, I started doing the guinea pig stuff out of that. And sure, it's ended up like practically saving my life. So I have a number of reasons to why to promote it.
Yeah. Can you tell us exactly how it saved your life?
So I went in, and they before you do any medical scans, they make sure that you are like as healthy as possible for them to detect. And what I was going in for was something to do with sleep, I think. And so they were saying it was something to do with I think it was a schizophrenia medication. And the way that like, first of all, fair enough, that's scary. People to be like, I'm not going in for a schizophrenia medical examination. But they require someone without any form of schizophrenia in order to see what normal brainwaves look like. And I was actually in another medical trial that was to do with sleep 3 months before, and they had this thing on my head that looked like a scrum cap, and it was I think it was a CT scan was what it was called. So it was actually looking at brainwaves, and during that scan, they didn't actually detect that there was anything wrong with my head. So I had absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. I didn't have headaches. I didn't have dizziness. I didn't forget things randomly, nothing. And then when I went in to do this MRI scan, they were then able to say, hey, you have a tumor in your head. And I was so shocked by that, like completely taken aback, like, what? Like, I don't know, a tumor, like there's no swelling or anything there. And then so much so that I was then saying to them, well, do I get to do this medical trial then? And they were like, no, you need to go to the doctor and get a second check on that very quickly, even though you're not feeling anything. So I'm here like, fine, I won't do the medical examination.
You never had like any inkling at all that like you had something, that tumor growing? Nothing at all? Like no headaches? Zero?
Nothing. Absolutely. Still don't have any symptoms of it whatsoever. The only symptoms that I have had are things that are directly related to all my chemotherapy and my brain surgery. So it's like all to be expected, but still nothing to do with the fact that it is technically a cancerous tumor. So I went in, and then I had a second appointment to have straight after the first detection. And then COVID kind of came in and made that a far more delayed appointment. Originally, it was only meant to be like a month, but because COVID stepped in and because it was detected, and from the images that they had, they said this is benign, so it's not an emergency. Like when he was talking to me over the phone, the doctor saying we found a benign tumor, they were saying.
And what do you first think when that was said to you? Like, were you upset? Were you like?
Not really, because I just started was taken aback, and I was like, well, what does that mean? Because I had no idea what it meant to have a brain tumor. Because if it wasn't giving me if I had gone in and I was like, I'm having really bad headaches, and then they said, yeah, we found out you have a tumor, I probably would have absolutely bricked it myself, because it's like, well, what does that mean, that I've got like 4 days to live or something? Yeah. But because I had no symptoms, it was like, am I in danger? And then he said, no, not really. You, what is normally happens when things like this are detected, is they're monitored, and you get some treatment for it. And then you'll normally live a perfectly normal life. Some things you won't be able to do. You won't be allowed to fly a plane. You won't be allowed to join the fire department. And it's like, I kind of wanted to do that, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. And
how'd your family react?
I didn't tell them the first time, because it was benign, and my dad's a worrier, so I was like, there's no need to add this in. I'll be at home and I'll be like having a drink over Christmas, and they'll be like, is that not bad for you? Is that not bad for you? You can't do that. Don't do that. So I was like, let me just avoid that minefield for now. And then when I went in for the second appointment about 6 months later, just when COVID was finally sort of not going down in how many people were affected, but down in terms of the hospitals were then getting a handle on how to manage it. And when they brought me back in and they did the second scan, they were like, oh, this seems like it's still benign, but it is growing. And so while they did say down the line you might need brain surgery, they said, okay, well, you actually need brain surgery now. Again, it's completely optional. You don't have to do it, but it's advised. And so I was like, all right, well, I mean, if it's advised, then let's do it.
When they said now, do they mean there and then?
No, I kind of would have preferred if it was there and then, to be perfectly honest, because it would just be like, this is happening.
We're already in the hospital.
Go do it. Yeah, go do it right now. Because the whole thing they said was like, from the 6 months before to now, they said it's growing. And he showed to me like, I know you can see the image here and it looks a little bit bigger, but you got to remember that it is a tumor. So it comes in a spherical object. So a little bit bigger on a spherical object means that it's actually far larger. Like, think about it in planets. If a planet is that big, but then it's actually this big, it's probably twice its mass. So he was saying your tumor has grown by 30%. So when they said, all right, we'll book you in, it'll be a month, I was like, I don't want to wait another month. If it grew 30% in 6 months, then that means that it was like, what, 5%? So it should be 35% larger if I wait another month. So I was like, do it now. But like, it's the NHS and it's during COVID. So I wasn't going to start like, I need to have this right now. There's no point.
Had you told your family then at that stage?
A little bit. So after that happened, I was like, okay.
How did you tell them a little bit?
Well, I still waited a while because it was I found that out on like the 22nd of May, and my brother's birthday was my brother's birthday was the 22nd of May, and I found this out on the 26th. Good God. And so I was there thinking, I don't want to muck up his birthday, so I'll wait till that passes, because my brother has 2 kids, so my parents live nearby, so the whole family would have been up and like having a lovely time. So I didn't want this sort of elephant in the room. It wouldn't have been an elephant in the room. They would have said something, but it would have been like, well, this has spoiled the party. So I was like, I'll wait till after that, and then let them know. I was also considering not telling them whatsoever, and then just sort of calling them after the surgery, being like, hey, I'm just out of the hospital. It all went well. And then tell them what happened, because I mean, you can't hide a scar.
Yeah, I don't think they thank you for that.
They probably wouldn't have, but at the same time, it would have been like they wouldn't have to have gone through any worry. And then also because of COVID, I knew if I tell them, they're going to want to come over. And they're in their 60s, so they're not in the elderly category, but they're closing in on it, so they would be more risky. And Ireland was handling COVID a lot more strictly than the UK, so I was worried that if they come over, they're more likely to get it. So that was a factor as well. But it was mostly, I hate the idea of people being like constantly asking me, "Are you okay though? Are you doing okay? I know you're going through a thing that I'm not going to mention, but are you okay?" I can't stand that stuff. So I wanted to try and avoid it as much as possible. And I kind of felt like if I tell my parents, I asked for advice from my mates back in Ireland. Like, should I tell my parents now, or should I tell them a little bit later? And then I was like, all right, well, if I tell them, I've got to tell the outer family as well, because loads of them live in London. So it would be unfair. It would seem like I'm cutting them off. And then it kind of became this thing of, well, if I tell them, I have to tell them, and I have to tell them. And then my cousins we're in similar friend circles over here as well. So it's like, you're just going to have to tell everybody. There's no way of getting around this.
And did you ever consider moving home at any stage when all this is going on?
Nah, not really. Like, there was, because I knew straight away, like, being home is great, but once you've lived alone, moving home, no matter how cool your parents are, and I do get along with my parents, but there's just little things that then sort of take little steps on your independence, and it's not their fault. It's not like they're being unreasonable in what they're asking, but it just sort of makes you feel like a child.
Yeah, you're right. Parents are paying the hole sometimes.
Yeah. And I literally, the last Christmas that I was here, I had to actually...
I'm allowed to say that because I am one.
yeah. Well, I'm not there yet, but hopefully at some point. But over Christmas, it would have been... No, it would have been last year. It would have been 2019. At one point, I actually had to go up to my brother's house and just stay there for a couple of nights. And he wasn't even in the house. His wife was from Cork, and he had gone down to Cork with her. And I was just like, I just need a break. I just need to get out. I just need to, be able to watch a film without someone coming in and being like, why did you not clean up that plate? We clean up the plate straight after you've eaten from it. It's like,
I get you. Is it like, obviously you're 31 now, and like after you went and got the operation and all, like what goes through your head when you're like lying in bed, like you sort of like, there's so much stuff I haven't done, or so much stuff I wanted to change, what sort of goes through your head now looking forward,
Yeah, well, like the idea of the bucket list thing didn't really come into my head too much, because I kind of wrote a bucket list when I was younger just for a laugh, but like there's not really much on there that it's like, see the pyramids. There was never really anything like that was something that could be solved with going out there and just buying a flight ticket to somewhere. So it was like none of that really bothers me. And at the time, after my brain surgery, I had made a load of videos that I hadn't edited or uploaded from my channel. And so the idea was that if I have problems with my speech, it will go undetected because I am releasing videos that I previously shot, but so like go without noticing that I had the surgery. But then when my speech healed so quickly, I was like, all right, I can speak now, so I may as well continue making the videos. And if I'm going to do that, someone is going to see the gigantic scar on the side of my head, so I may as well address that. And I thought the way I would address that would be to start pushing a small charity for the Macmillan Cancer Society, because they were sending me, they still are sending me money once a week to just sort of get by in comfort. So that's what the original plan was. But then when I went in for my second meeting and they were like, okay, we've finally done a biopsy on the tumor, even though it's great that you've recovered like miraculously from your speech, we thought that would last 6 months to a year. You now have
your speech is brilliant. Speech is brilliant. Like, you're absolutely perfect.
It's back to normality. It's because when they said that the surgery that you're going on in for, we don't do this to young people. It's very rare. And what's even far more rare, like twice as, like 60 times as rare as that, is that you're coming in here with no symptoms. So my surgeon, he deals with like 3 people a week. He has a large content or a large amount of people who he has dealt with. And he said that there was one other person in his whole career that not only he had worked with, but he had heard of, that was my age and went into surgery asymptomatic. So he was saying, you have this tumor that we are now classing as stage 3, but because with the brain surgery, we thought that it would take X amount of time, and it hasn't. You've recovered so much faster because you're young, that while we say you've got 6 years on, but they didn't say, you always have to ask. We, like, on paper, the estimate would be 6 years on average, but the average person that we're taking that data from is in their 60s. So you have a young person's brain. So it's like, we have no idea how long this is going to affect you. All our knowledge is based off of data on people that are not in your demographic. So we have an idea, but it's not solid at all.
Yeah. Is this hereditary in any sort of way? Like, or did you tell your parents and family after, and so they could go get checked as well?
No, the doctor, when he said you've got a tumor, and it's straight away, he was like, and we have no idea how you got it. These are we have not discovered why they are, how they are detectable. We don't know if it was, there's loads of rumors like, oh, it's having mobile phones, it's having this, it's having that. They were like, we have absolutely no idea what causes this, so don't start looking for reasons in your like, I wouldn't say past life, like it's a sort of a karmatic thing, but like, don't look back in your past and think, oh, maybe it was this, maybe it was, maybe it was not enough cigarettes.
Did you ever consider that it could have been the medical trials and you were taking a lot of like random drugs?
Well, that's one thing that I would have thought had they not said, we have absolutely no idea what has caused this. And also, I never took all the medical trials that I did. None of them were to do with brain stuff. So again, it would have given me a big reason to not think that, because it was like stuff to do with a paracetamol medication, a fake or a new paracetamol medication, and they gave me fake dead bacteria. So when your body has dead bacteria, it still is provoked to have an immune response as if it's real bacteria. So you get the fever, you get the sort of the thing that the flu is famous for. You get those symptoms, but then it dies off so quickly because it's like your body is able to tell, oh, these are dead bacteria, false alarm, shut down all the defense mechanisms. And I can't remember all the other ones off the top of my head, but
would you have given them a list of the stuff that you've gone in and previously been treated for?
They would have already had a medical list of that, because it's all on the same medical register.
And what about like, would you, like, obviously you're into fitness and stuff, would you have done like steroids or like the opposite end of the stick? Would you smoke cigarettes as well?
No, I never actually smoked. I smoked cigarettes the odd time when I was drunk, but like I would be shocked if it was enough cigarette. I like over the course of my life, I would say it's definitely under 40 cigarettes because I would never even smoke a whole one myself. It would be like I'm gonna have a drag
You just
off
have to look
this.
cool.
Oh yeah. Only in the leather jacket.
Just for the Tinder profile.
Smoking like that, you know.
And then, Ian, you said you were stage 3. How many stages are there, and what are the difference between the stages for people who don't know?
I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference in the stages. All I know is that there is 4, and I can't remember. I need to ask them again in the next meeting because they said this the tumor is not cancerous. But then when I looked up what the thing is defined as, in some of the places that I looked it up, it's a glioblastoma. And I was like, okay, well, here it's classed as cancer. And then looked somewhere else. It was like, okay, here it's not classed as cancer. And so I'm sure I need to ask my, the next time I go. It's not like it makes any difference to me because they said this is the amount of years that we predict that you have. And that's what I've been basing my sort of thought process off. So if they said, it doesn't matter what they've said, and like you have cancer, you don't have cancer, because it's still the same amount of time that you have left. So it's like it wouldn't really make much of a difference to me.
And what was their latest sort of prediction on that?
The latest prediction was when it was from the original one. So they haven't changed what they predicted was like, you know, life expectancy and treatments and all that sort of thing. So I will be getting an MRI very soon, and then there'll be a meeting afterwards. But I would imagine nothing will be different in what that MRI will determine, because I was only thinking about this earlier on. With different forms of cancer, you can usually have a sort of a hopeful expectation that it will go undetected. Now, they never say that you are cancer-free. They just say that the tumor is no longer visible with scans, so meaning that it's a tiny aspect of whatever is in your body, but it is still very likely to still be in your body. It's almost guaranteed to still be in your body. And that's what remission is. Remission is when they do another scan, because they'll constantly be scanning you. They do another scan and they're like, okay, it's come back. So with brain cancer, though, there's never any moment where they're like, hey, we're no longer detecting the tumor, because they can't hit the brain tissue with the same level of intensity as if you had colon cancer or if you had lung cancer, because your lung can heal, your colon can heal. You can even lose a lung and lose a significantly large part of your colon, and you'll still be able to live fine. But I mean, I don't think it takes any brain surgeons to know that if you lost a huge chunk of your brain, you wouldn't be operating properly. So when they actually do the brain surgery, the whole point is not to take as much of the tumor away as possible. It's to take, the main goal is to take as little brain tissue as possible that is tumorous. So
how's your mental health been over this? Because like I can't help but listen to you and just feel like really, really sad. Like, because I'm like, it's mad how in the world like you're just constantly focused on everything. Like I'm sure Ross, you're the same. Like you're like, right, your sole aim is to make sure Theo has like
to be honest,
great life. This is
from my point of view, I almost see it as the opposite way. From listening to Ian's story, I don't actually feel sad. It makes me feel very lucky on my situation, and it gives me a far more positive outlook on life. But only because listening to Ian being so positive. But Ian,
I'd much rather people are. I wouldn't want to think that I start talking to someone and they go, "Oh fuck!"
No. It's
the worst thing in the world.
No, it's more like the way you're so young, and then the way that's just sort of happening, and like obviously looking at your stuff online, you're so like out there, and you're so enthusiastic about stuff. Yeah, you're always in great form, but like at the end of the day, you're the only person that goes into the room. Whether who else is in the room as well, but I mean, you're the only person that looks in the mirror, and it's like how are you actually feeling? Like, is like, has it gotten too much to you? Like, have you broken down any sort of stage, and you're like, right, let's go again, or have you really sat down and taken it all in? You know, this is a big transition in your life.
Honestly, not really, because it all goes with the lack of symptoms. It means that it's sort of, I've been thinking about this loads, and I don't think it's some sort of huge sense of like overwhelming courage and bravery that I need to get over this. I think it's just like when you can't see what's the enemy, it's difficult to have the fear of it. So it's like there's loads of incidents of people that are, there's something dangerous coming in at them, and because they can't see it yet, they're all sort of still be like, it's part of the reason why COVID is like has so many problems. It's because when people aren't being affected by it, they're like, you don't need these masks, like, I don't need to wash my hands. And then all that keeps going on until, like, someone in their family gets COVID and they're like, okay, maybe I need to wear the masks and wash my hands. So it's like, it only sort of feels personal and real until something like that has happened to them. So it's the same sort of thing where nothing is different in how I'm able to act in life. And when they're saying the chemo and the radiotherapy, fair enough, that is different. It makes me feel really groggy and tired. But they've said this will pass. It's almost completely unlikely, especially with you being as young as you are, that you won't make a full recovery from the negative symptoms of this treatment. You probably won't go through the worst of the symptoms because of your age. So you'll get a very light touch on this one. And so far it has been true. The only thing that I'm waiting on now is for this side of my hair to grow back. Everything else has been sprang back to normality. I'm back to a normal level of energy in the morning. My diet was never really affected by it much, but there's no longer any feelings of sickness or nausea. So it's basically like a very long hangover.
And then, like, obviously this is where you got in contact with Ross and you told him what you have planned coming up. Is it in 2022?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, we don't know how COVID's going to affect things, but I was going to do the 2021 London Marathon, but just to sort of do it as a promotional thing. It's unrealistic that I would be fit enough to try and break the second world record, or have enough of an audience and get enough of donations in order to break the first one. So I was like, all right, maybe a year. It's achievable if you are laser focused on it. And worst case scenario, you don't achieve it that year. You just try it another year and you'll probably be fitter by that stage. And even though it would be me starting, the funding would go back down to zero and restart. I think the thing that I'm the premise of how I think I'm going to succeed in this is by having a large audience that I can do live streaming events to, and entertain them and find little trigger points for being think of the exact same thing with like the US or the UFC drinking game. I never played it myself, but it's like, every time the announcer says it's time, you've got to drink a shot. So do the exact same format, but like, one that the original idea that I was going to have was play the game Call of Duty Warzone. And anytime I get a headshot, because I have my own headshot, you've got to donate like €5, £5, $5, whatever. To
pretty good.
Not really. That's why I'm okay. I'm manageable. And so that was the whole kind of premise, is that I'm not that good. So if it's the whole thing of like, how about instead of the normal thing that people would follow on YouTube, which is an excellent player, why not follow like a mediocre player and his journey to become decent at it? And then, so it's like, every time I get a headshot, you've got to donate the money. And so that was the premise of it. Like, if you have a large audience, say maybe 100,000 people are watching that, and you do a load of different stuff. Another one I wanted to do was go out to Berlin and do the Berlin Marathon, except you're only allowed to do it drinking beer rather than drinking water, and get a load of people to do that as well, and then get a load of people to do it recorded. And then every time you pass by 3 miles, or every time you down a pint, that's when the prompt point is for people to donate. And you can either have it like, every time you make 3 miles without getting sick, you've got to donate, or every time you do get sick, you've got to donate. Something like that, where it's basically like someone's watching an episode of Jackass, except they're being asked to cure cancer.
And that's the London Marathon 2022 you're aiming to do.
Well, the London 22 one is a very serious one. That's me just running the race it's just me running the race. The second part of the world record that I'm trying to break is marathons are really open for fun little charitable things. And what the Guinness Book of World Records added into that was they then legitimized all these world records that your average Joe can end up achieving. Now, they do get harder and harder and harder as the years go by because more people do them. But if you dress up as something, the Guinness Book of World Record will let you be the fastest person dressed as that thing. So you can like wear a suit, and it's like the fastest person to run a marathon in a suit. And that one's actually quite hard. Someone's done that very quickly. But they've got loads of different things. They've got like loads of soldiers do ones that are fastest marathon with like 80 pounds on their back. So like 40 kilos on their back. And people do things like fastest dressed as a horse. So there's two people, you know, like dressed as the horse thing. And it's how fast they do. Fastest kicking a ball. Like mad stuff like that. People do the
You never be able to do that one in Dublin, because if someone saw you doing that in Dublin, someone would come around and volley your ball out of the way. They would
kick it in the lippy.
That'd be a great way to go over and just puncture their ball. Ha! Do it now. But I wouldn't do the ball one. When I heard of the ball one, I thought like that is so dangerous for everyone else around them, because if you kick the ball too far, you could so easily make someone snot themselves on it.
Question: Could you actually do a double one? Could you actually be the fastest person to ever run the marathon while carrying a rugby ball? Because obviously you play rugby. I don't know if I've ever heard that one before.
I haven't heard that one myself, but I guarantee that there is someone that has done that, and there's a record of it. Because I'm sure if there's one kicking a ball, there's someone holding a ball.
Yeah. So like, you're going to have to come up with something there anyway.
Well, the one that I chose to select was that because, one, it's difficult. It's very difficult, but it's also just about achievable, I think, I hope, is the video game character one. Because it was like the thing that I started my YouTube channel based on was video games. And I'm still doing video game stuff on it. But I thought, all right, well, that's perfect. So it's something that is already connected to what you are doing. And then also it is... like there's one that I'll probably get it just because I could, but the one where it's a person who's run the marathon as a patient. Someone did that, and they're just dressed as the patient. They don't actually have to be a patient.
I mean, your arse out.
I don't think so. I would definitely do it with my arse out. I would 100% do it with my arse out. Absolutely. But I don't think this guy did. And his one is 3 hours 45 minutes, and my best one was 3 hours 30. So I could wear the hospital gown and snag that one. So then I thought that would have been too easy to get one that I've already kind of passed that time. And so the video game one is less than 3 hours, which is hard. Like doing a sub 3 hour marathon it's not running a 4 minute mile, but it's like running a 4:30. Like it's very difficult to do. It's a mark of achievement.
What character are you thinking of dressing up as?
I haven't finalized that yet, because what the biggest problem with that is wearing any sort of a costume, especially when you have to run a fast marathon, is going to deeply affect how well you can run it. So what I was going to do is try to find a character that I could do that's not going to hold me back too much. It's not going to be too much of a hindrance. And then whoever is on my my channel, give it up to them and say, all right, you vote. And the way you vote is with donations. So whatever video game character earns the most amount of money, that's the character I'll be. But leave it open to the people who follow the sort of the goal or the journey. And like, that's another way that I'm going to try and earn the money the whole way through, is just let people make choices on what I'm doing with, like, let their money be their vote. I was also thinking of auctioning off like a part of my skin and being like, all right, that you get to tattoo whatever's there if you've put the money in. Yeah,
I saw you said that, and I was just like, that's
loose.
That is pretty loose. That's pretty cool. But have you got like a specific website, or do you want people like that, or where you want people to go directly to get in contact with you? And like I can link it just in the bio so people know where to look.
Yeah, originally I had all these like creative ways of like created worded ways of like, you know, thinking maybe I'll use that for the channel. So I had like a cancer, not cancer, and fighting cancer with cancer, and all these sort of silly things. And then the first time I did a podcast, it was like, oh my God, how are you going to tell the lads like these 7 different things that you've come up with, one for your Twitter, one for your thing, one for your Facebook. And so then I got my own website, and that's just curecancerorddietrying.com. And in that is like the funnel to all the other things. So you can go straight to the Just Giving page if all you want to do is give money and then bugger off. You can see the YouTube channel, you can see the Facebook thing, Twitter, all the works there. And there's the email there if you want to do something that's a bit more like if you would like me on your own podcast, or if you want to give sponsorship or something that's a bit more sort of I haven't found out the better word for it, but something that's a bit more business related.
All right, I'm going to make sure, right, you have to make sure you send me on that website. I'll put it in the bio, and then you also make sure you comment on this video, and then I'll pin your comment to the top so people know directly to go onto your YouTube channel as well. Yeah,
will do, man.
Also, Ian, on your own Instagram, we'll show you how to do it afterwards. You need to like go into your edit profile and put in that website as in the website bracket instead of in your bio part, how it's actually clickable. Because at the moment it's not clickable on your Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram is not really, I haven't tried to use that as any sort of a thing to connect the others. My Instagram is basically just for all my mates. It's just like,
but you need every little bit of help you can get, so you need to start getting on the gram too.
Yeah, I probably thought of that. The same thing with like, I was even going to start a TikTok account and basically just make a piss take of all other TikTok accounts, but I haven't quite got around to that. And Reddit was another one that I've literally got like a list of things that I need to start doing on social media, but I actually don't like using social media that much from the start. So I was like, oh God, I'm going to get so distracted so often. I'm never going to get anything done.
Well, you're going to have to get used to liking it.
Yeah, I know.
Are you able to donate? Are you able to donate now on that website you have now?
Oh yeah. So all the links are in there for the Just Giving. Just Giving is the direct one because that you just click on the Just Giving ones and straight away it goes to the charity things. All the other things do link to the Just Giving, like all of the YouTube videos that I make. If you look to the description, you can always click onto the direct promotions, even if the videos are completely unrelated to anything to do with the charitable cause, because like I still just release things that are just, I think they're funny. So I'll just like, I got a dog recently. So like, I think I put up a video where it's just my dog fighting with my mom's dog. There's nothing to do with like, remember cancer research, blah, 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 blah. I just recorded these 2 dogs fighting and put that up, but then had the link written in there, completely unrelated. So all of them, I'm hoping have some form of filter to go back to the main goal of it all.
All right, I'll make sure to donate this week anyway, 100%. I know Ross won't because he's absolutely scabbed.
He
owes me this UFC glove for ages, right? And then I'm after winning there on the weekend. He still hasn't sent it. He just,
You know what? You're a man who's into your fitness, right? Barry doesn't show up to the gym sessions, and I was meant to bring him to the gym sessions, and he missed 5 in a row. So like, I just thought
I did not miss 5 in a row.
I actually thought you were tired, to be honest.
I'm top.
Get you call up your brother and get him to be like free personal training session.
You mad? That fella wouldn't give you anything for free.
Yeah, he keeps everything trapped. All right, so like first of all, Ian, thanks a million for coming on. Is there anything else we should go over as well, like to look out for? Because like I'm definitely going to be following this. This is it's not every day. Like myself and Ross just started doing this for the crack, and then all of a sudden we've had like such unbelievable guests on, and then like I don't think his story has been as deep as this, Ross. What do you think?
No, I think Ian's story is. I don't know what way to describe it. It's like slightly outlandish, but also like it's real cool that he's taken something that like has destroyed people's lives, turned into a positive thing, and trying to do something for others. And Ian, you have such a positive outlook on life. It's actually made me look more positive on my life. I was like, geez, the amount of stuff I complain about that is like absolute bullshit. You know what I mean? And then I was like, here, look, some people actually have a hard, Ross. So like, just pull up your socks and keep on plowing forward. You know what I mean? So thanks a million for coming on to share your story, man.
Thank you very much for having me on in the first place.
Yeah, Ian, I was looking up, when's the London Marathon meant to be on in 2022?
April. It's always on in around April time. So big part of the reason I really want to try and get this the first time is because I do BJJ myself, and after this I can't risk breaking it, like, you know, having a knee hurt or anything like that. So I can't wait to get back to, like, you know, getting into the sparring with the lads. So that's probably one of the biggest motivations that I have at the moment, where it's like, because I don't actually like running these days. I used to like it way back in the day, but I kind of got sick of it. But it's like, it's the best way to earn money for charity. So I was like, come on, you got to get back into it now.
That's only because everyone knows how hard it is. Like, no one, only weirdos actually enjoy running.
Yeah. Once you get fit enough, you do actually start to enjoy it, because you're running at a good clip, and then the rest of your body isn't hard. And so if you're listening to music that really like sort of listen to a bit of Chemical Brothers and like gets the beats going, and then it's like, yes, you start getting the endorphins as you're running, so it becomes less of a chore. But it takes a long time to get up to that point. And I've never reached that point.
I've never reached that point. I don't know if I ever will.
I used to do a long distance running myself. I might actually like do this in 2022. If you're going, sure, you'll probably be in London anyway. Ross won't be allowed to go. He's not allowed to do anything anymore. But we'll do it backwards, Ross.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the record for that? Like,
it's actually probably very impressive, you know. It's probably like 3 hours, 20 minutes or something.
I'd say it's freakishly high, because like someone has definitely thought of doing that.
Yeah. But
you can join in. Like, there's loads of them that I've come up with that I want other people. Like, I want people who want to join in just for the crack. And like one of them that I wanted to do was do a doctor-patient one, where it's like a tandem team. One of them is in a wheelchair, and the other one is behind them. And they're both, well, one of them is dressed with the doctor jacket, like the medical jacket thing on, and then the other person is dressed like a patient. And so one person is pushing the wheelchair while the other person is sitting in it. And then the only rule is that when you switch, you can switch anytime you want, but when you switch, you've got to change clothes. So only a doctor is allowed push. So at that point, it's like, if you're running a marathon, like sitting in the chair might actually be a bad thing, because it'll make you seize up. But
I got you.
Yeah, you'd have to agree when the changeover was like, that's the only changeover of the day.
Yeah, it might, like, that might be what it is. Like, they're training for a half marathon. Both of you train for a half marathon. One person is in the seat and one person is pushing.
But the first person would want to do more than half, because like, I'm sure if you're sitting down in a wheelchair for 2 hours, when the first person does like the first part, getting up and then being like, right, now you run, it's like, fucking hell, my legs are banjacks.
Yeah, they really would. Jesus.
Would you be telling them to hurry up or slow down, because you know your time is coming, like, you know?
It's like, mate, you can do 1 more mile back there.
You have a mile left of them legs.
See what I mean, lads? You lads are already thinking about the tactics for what you need to do it. So that is why.
I'm not even messing. We've done one before. It's just like we don't get in contact. People don't get in contact with us to do it. So like when an opportunity.
Wait. When we done before, we done charity run. We didn't run the marathon.
No, not a marathon. I'm just talking about like doing stuff for charity in general. Yeah, that's what I mean. But here, look, I'm definitely going to be watching this space, because I might have to get the run shoes on. But Iain, like, here, let us know where people can find you, please.
The best one is definitely if you go on curecancer or dietrying.com, and then that is the connection to all the other things. The things where you'd find the most are the Facebook involves like a daily diary, which someone advised me to do. It's definitely very amateur, because I haven't got it properly organized at all. I keep getting info from her being like, no, you need to like plan what you're about to say beforehand. Stop just going on and being like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. Yeah. So hopefully that improves with experience. And then the YouTube thing is, it's basically an excuse for me to write sketches and make jokes and play video games. But then every so often it will also be me at about equal ratios. It's then involved with me doing the exercise. And again, you can find that all on the Cure Cancer or Die Trying website. But those are the 2 big things that involve the most involvement from me.
Perfect. Well, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, I'm sure you have. Again, Iain, thanks a million for coming on. Just make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
stay energized.